Have you ever tried drawing a portrait and started scribbling and drawing and refining, only for your drawing to turn out like this? Well, this is probably a sign that you're missing some fundamentals. But you're not, because in this video, I'm going to teach you how to draw beautiful, proportionate heads with ease. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's get started. This tutorial is going to be split into 3 parts, going through the fundamentals with the last part where we learn how to stylize the head to give it that anime look. A great first concept a lot of artists learn or practice is the Loomis Method. It's a method created by the great Andrew Loomis, which simplifies the average human head into basic 3D shapes. That helps you see the structure behind the faces rather than just copying the reference. If we ignore all the features of the head, the only thing we will be left with would be a sphere for the cranium and a box shape for the jaw and the cheekbones. And so what I started with here was just a sphere, or in 2D terms, a circle, and then we cut both sides of the circle, so we would have lines that are about the length of 2/3, and those 2/3 are going to contain the forehead and the portion between the eyebrows to the tip of the nose. And then we add another equal third at the bottom, which will contain the mouth and the chin. And since we would be able to see parts of the sides of the head, we would make those 2 arcs along those lines. The positioning of the mouth would be a little bit above the middle. And then we add 2 lines to give form to our shape, and then the ears, and that's it. Now this is a front-facing Loomis head, so let's try doing it from the side. And basically from the side, we just follow the same steps we followed in the front-facing view. We draw a circle, and then we draw a circle inside of the circle. The reason why we do that is because the 2 lines that we see in the front-facing plane, when we turn the head around, they turn into ovals slowly, and then the oval gets larger until it is a perfect circle. And it's the same thing. The middle circle is going to be the length of 2/3, and then we add another third at the bottom, which will contain the mouth and the chin. And then we draw the ear. The ear is going to be inside the part that is between the eyebrows and the bottom of the nose. And from the side, we can see that the skull is not a perfect circle. And so we cut the part below so we can make space for the connection with the neck. And of course, we add a triangle to represent the nose. And that's it. But wait a minute! Not all people look the same, Chad. Every person has different beautiful proportions. And if I follow this method, all my drawings will end up looking the same. Well, besides the fact that white Hollywood actors exist, yes, you're absolutely correct. Some people have larger cheekbones, some people have smaller chins, some people have larger foreheads, which is why the generic Loomis head is just a guide that you can mold to your liking. Which takes me to part 2, modifying the proportions. Now we can take the base that we built in part 1 and change some parts of it. For example, a person might have a larger jaw, which turns the jaw into a more boxy shape, making them look more like, handsome Squidward.
Hit me on Grindr.
And so the steps are basically the same. You start with a sphere for the cranium, slice off the sides, use a horizontal line to help you position the proportions, and then you find where the hairline is, the brows, the nose, and the chin. However, we're not going to use the rule of thirds for this one, because like I said, sometimes you would find a person with one of the thirds larger than the 2. So in our example here, the second third is larger than the first and the last, making them look like they have large cheekbones. And for the second example, the first third is larger than the other 2, making them look like they have a larger forehead. And the possibilities really are endless. You can mess around and play with this all you want. You can make the ears larger, you can make the chin larger, you can do whatever you want. It's your character, as long as it looks proportionate and you respect the placement of the features. But Chad, I want to draw anime! Well, don't you worry, my anime-loving weeaboo. I love anime too, which is why in the next part, we'll go through how to stylize the head to give it that anime look. The one thing that a lot of animators or illustrators do is turn real life or imaginary objects into graphical shapes that are visually pleasing, which is what anime does in this instance. Another thing we notice is that we get a very large cranium, and the features are compressed into a small area in the head. And I believe this adds to the cuteness of the character, because babies have like disproportionately larger heads, which adds to their cuteness. And, applied to anime, we get this kawaii, almost like chibi look. Now, of course, there's multiple styles of anime, But this deformed head is the most used in shows and in anime-styled illustrations. So there are animes that have a more mature look to them. And it all really depends on the stylistic choices and the shape language the mangaka or the animators choose. So in summary, I strongly recommend learning the Loomis method first because it gives you a strong foundation that you can build on and modify later. And, join the Discord in the description below to share your work and get some feedback. If you learned something useful today, do like the video and subscribe to the channel. But first and foremost, have fun drawing, draw a lot, and take care of yourself.